If it looks like no lawyer wants your injury or employment case, there could be two possible reasons for this. The first reason is that you simply don't have a case, or maybe your case is financially not worth pursuing. And here are a few random examples. This type of case could be a rear-end car accident where you have a very, very minor damage on your bumper. Maybe there is a small dent or a scratch. So theoretically, the other driver, the other side is liable, but in practice, this type of claim will lead to a very small recovery, and this tells to most lawyers or all the lawyers that you would talk to that financially this type of case would simply not be worth pursuing. It could also be an accident with disputed liability, and a classic example is a collision at a red light intersection where both sides say that they had the green light and the other side should have stopped because they had the red light. If it's your word against the other driver's word and there are no witnesses, there's no video, there's nothing else to tip the scales of evidence in your favor, many lawyers or most lawyers would not want to pursue this type of case because they have 50% chance of losing and getting nothing. And another example from the world of employment law is, let's say you have a disability discrimination case where you ask for an accommodation from your employer and the employer delays providing you with that accommodation. Eventually they do what they're supposed to do, but it takes them a little bit longer than expected. Now technically you might have a case, but in theory is that type of case without underlying termination of employment, without some other underlying aggravating facts that show that you lost a lot of money, you lost wages, or without other significant losses, this type of case would not be worth pursuing. And another case from the world of wage and hour law could be a very small claim for unpaid wages, or a situation where the employer did not pay all wages on time. Maybe they were late a few days, and theoretically you would be entitled to waiting time penalties, maybe to some interest, but in practice that type of claim would be too small for any attorney to want to pursue on your behalf. So that is one reason. The second reason that's very rarely stated to the clients, to the potential claimants, is that there is something about you, there is something about your behavior, there is something about your demeanor that is a red flag to attorneys and make them want to run away because they just don't want to deal with you. This could be the fact that you come across as very angry or very demanding or confrontational with the lawyers that you're talking to, and maybe you come across as entitled, maybe you come across as someone who has unreasonable expectations, and it could all start with a phone call where you act angry as if the lawyer who you're talking to hurt you or got into an accident with you or discriminated against you or fired you. And most lawyers, especially the best lawyers out there, they also happen to be very picky. They know that their case is only as good as their client is. They also know that angry clients, demanding clients, entitled clients, clients who appear to be unlikable, they don't do well. They don't do well in court. They don't do well in depositions, in arbitration, or anywhere else. They want to stay away from those people because they know that those types of clients are the ones that make their life hard and their work very hard, and they rarely achieve any good results with those types of clients. This type of situation can also start from an email that's very dramatic and very long and just sounds like it's been written by a mentally unstable person. So if you contact a lawyer about your case by email, make sure that your story is straight and to the point. There is no reason for your summary to be longer than one page. And if you talk about being followed by someone or something else that happens very rarely, you better have specific evidence to prove that. And if not, do not make accusations that are outrageous, that are impossible to prove, and belong more to movies than to reality. Now, going back to the first point, if all the lawyers that you talk to tell you that you don't have a case or your case is not worth pursuing, you might not like hearing that. You might be disappointed because you thought you had a great case. You were hoping to bring a case against the other side. But the one thing you should do is ask those lawyers to explain to you, to take a few minutes and explain to you why they think you don't have a case. In most situations, it's not a rocket science. It's going to be easy for you to understand what they're saying and where they're coming from. And if all the lawyers tell you the same story, and if all the lawyers provide you with the same reasons why your case is not worth pursuing, do not just ignore what they say like some people do. Do not just think, I don't care what you think, I'm going to keep looking for lawyers until I find the one who, quote unquote, believes in my case. No, listen to what people say. Try to understand. A good lawyer is going to explain to you the law and how the facts of your case apply to the law that is relevant to your situation. Remember, every case has two parts. It has liability and it has damages. If you establish liability but you don't have damages, or you have very minor damages, this type of case is probably not going to be worth pursuing, because at the end of the day, it's a matter of business. It's a matter of business for you, and it's a matter of business for the lawyers. So listen to what they have to say, especially if you pay for their advice, if you pay for their consultation. Get the most value out of it, and it will serve you well. It will put your mind at peace. You're not going to be disappointed anymore. You're going to understand what you're doing and why you're doing this. And if the second issue might be your problem, if the way you come across might be a problem, remember the next time you talk to a lawyer that you're not only bringing your case to him, you're also bringing yourself. So be nice, be polite, listen to what the lawyer has to say, and try to make the right impression. Make an impression of a nice, likable person, a person who is not angry at the lawyer, a person who is sad, who is upset about his situation, but someone who it's not going to be hard to work with. Thank you.